I'm back. What have I got today? I've got this GT-1000. Yeah, it's all nice and sleek, isn't it? It looks good. It feels good too. Now, I haven't had a look inside, but we're going to, because it's an inside and outside review. Yeah, that's the box it comes in, a big fat box, and it talks about AD, Tone Central, Guitar Effects Processor by Boss, which is really Roland. There it is, lots of nice pictures, different colours you can have on these pedals and all that sort of stuff. But we're going to get into that. Now, I did wait a while for this one. Let me explain. I had it on order with a dealer. It was one of the smaller dealers, and yeah, the second day I found out this was going to be made and available, I put it on order, and here I am months later, and I got this just the other day. But unfortunately I didn't get it from the dealer where I placed the order. I had to go and get it from another company called Peach Guitars. They had them in stock, my dealer couldn't get one. Long story, there's a separate video about that. So I got it from Peach Guitars, but what I did want to say, Peach Guitars, hi, peachguitars.com, I think it is, or it could be, yeah, I think it's com, it could be co.uk. It'll say so down there. Yeah, they sent me two, but I only paid for one. So I got it here, two of them, and I was going to take one back and give them a call, but I'm a pretty busy guy as it happens. So I'm about to call them in the afternoon, and about 11 o'clock in the morning, oh, we got somebody on the phone for you, Peach Guitars type of thing. So I call them back, because I'd missed the calls somehow, don't ask. And they said, oh, you've got two of these, haven't you? I said, yeah. Yeah, when you're collecting. You're going to have to get it tomorrow, because it's at home, you know. So off it went back to Peach Guitars, and yeah, if they go around doing things like that, they won't be Peach Guitars for long, will they? Because they'll go bust. But I just wanted to point that out, that some imbecile in the shipping department doesn't know what he's doing. Could be a good company to buy from. No. Now, before I actually get down to this thing, I do want to tell you that I've been and tried it with a friend. Maybe it was me, maybe it was him, maybe it was both of us, you know, if you put the two brains together, you'd still only have half a brain type of thing. Me and him. But that might not be the case. We couldn't get a good sound out of it if it was anything other than clean, or an acoustic simulation, or something like that. They've always been good at that. In fact, this friend of mine commented, you believe this or not, he said, my GT-100 sounds better than that. And he was serious. Now, it could be that, you know, through just wanting to plug it in and not doing anything else at all except just banging our way through it, trying different methods of output, such as into a PA or such as into an amp or through a return on the serial link, and all sorts of things. We never actually got a decent sound on anything to do with distortion. Now, that could be that we've got the speaker simulator on, or it could be this, or it could, I don't really check close enough. So we're going to take this review as I find it now, because I never even got to put the software on and things like that. So that's the first thing to do. Let's go and, well, the first thing after we've looked inside, that is, let's go and have a look inside, see how well it's made. And in my experience of Roland, is they are pretty well made. But there's something strange about this one. Roland equipment, or Boss equipment, generally comes from Taiwan. This one's made in China. And the price has gone up. Well, we'll come back to them points later, I'm sure, but I'm going to whip the lid off and let's have a look inside. Hold on. This chassis, moving on, is like a moulding with end plates stuck on there. You can see these tin plates are sort of stuck onto the main board, onto the main chassis, should I say. So it's like an extrusion, which makes it very strong. We've got a couple of other plastic end plates down here. And we've got an array of boards that are all made in China. I'm going to see if I can get this one out, because that's probably the key component in the pedal. And if I can't, I can't. But you can see that the quality is extremely high across the whole unit. It absolutely is made on a machine, and this is the level of quality that you can get out of China today from a very large company. And that, my friends, is the main PCB in this unit. There's no sharp processors in here. Although it does look like there's some, I'm not sure if that's AKM or ARM. Right. It's all proprietary sort of stuff, if you get to have a look at it. You've got some memory there. You've got the main thing cooking there. You've got some proprietary stuff down here. And who's sure what it is? Well, not me. They don't tell me anything about it. The only thing is, what you can say is you can say that it's all really well made. And that's the main thing. What I also say to you is, if you're going to pull this board out, be very, very careful. You can see there's a plastic spacer there, there's a metal one there, the other metal one's fell inside, and this switch falls off when you're fitting it back, and all sorts of things like that. So don't go pulling this apart just willy-nilly just to take a look. Just have a look at this video and just give up at that. That'd be my advice, because it's very difficult to put back together. Lots and lots of these type of connections, and this one, by the way, was hanging off, so glad I had a look. But don't try it yourself unless you know what you're doing. And just in case you thought Tony couldn't put it back together and make it work, well, let's check it. Actually, this is the first time I've turned it on. Is it going to go pop? Oh no, looks like we can get there. What about that? Cheers. After that little lot, I think I needed that. Yeah, it's an awkward one to pull apart. Not so much you can take the bottom plate off, but getting that PCB out, yeah, it's a bit involved. It doesn't want to go back and it doesn't want to come out, so I won't bore you with it, but don't try it. Don't try this at home. Okay, well, the firmware on this one, when you turn it on, is 1.05, and I'm just going to check if there's any newer stuff than that, which you should do as well. Okay, well, you want to be on the Boss GT-1000 updates and drivers. That's where you want to go, and they're all there. And I'd recommend you pull them all down and install them all. I'm not going to sit here all day doing that. There's no point. But I'm going to do that now. Well, the GT-1000 library allowed me to pull down the Windows driver, which it automatically installs anyway. Go back asleep. We've got the GT-1000 system, which is now 1.11, and mine's 1.05, so you need to do that really. We've got the IR controlling software. We've got AirD and the AirD data, and we've got the Roland Boss Tone Studio, which is currently 1.01. I'm going to install all that stuff now. It's not rocket science, and we'll come back when I've got it. Oh, I'm not fully protected. I need a condom. Get out of here. Hold on. And sure enough, that was it. Pretty simple, really. But you do need to get the firmware updated, because it fixes a load of bugs and things, you know. I'm going to move on and install the rest of the software, and we'll come back. Just one thing here. If you don't run the Boss Tone Studio as administrator, it doesn't seem to want to work. And then when you run it as administrator, it sort of takes its time to get there. Bear it in mind. Now, as well as the regular editor you've got on a PC or a Mac, you can also edit from a tablet. This one I installed the software. We've got Premium Drive, which is the one that's over there at the moment on the unit, and you can chain edit or control expression pedal edit. I'm chain edit at the moment, so we can have a look at the chain, and it's much bigger and easier to see when you're on here. You can see at the bottom what it's moving through. We've got a lot of other things. We've got librarians, which should open up. User patch data, why not? Let's see if it works. It should do. It just takes a bit of time. One of the things I notice on this this gear is that everything's a little bit slow. I don't know. Might be fine. There we are. So we can edit and input and update and do whatever we want. I want to click it. Yeah, edit. Will it do it? It might. It might not. Okay. Let's go back. We've got Tone Central there. That we can go and take a look at what's available. It's all nice from this because you can just sort of sit here and thumb your way through it. Extra collection. 1. Yeah, that looks like an idea. Extra collection 2. Collection 3. Collection 4. Rock anthology. Yeah, that looks good. I'll put that one in. There it is. Collection of patches. We can listen to them. But I can just as easily say add. I've listened to them before. Add a live set. Yeah, why not? Did it do it? Add. Completed. Okay. So I guess if we were to come out of that now, we can go back to the librarian and we can see the rock anthology. Why have I got it in twice? Who knows? Maybe it did it twice. Let's just choose that one. Joe's Boogie. Da 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 da. You'll know all these. Angus is back. You know what it is before you get there. The Love Steve. Yeah. Upload that to Row 1. Why don't we do that? Theory as it's going to do it. Well, here we go. Export to GT-1000. Let's do that. Select live set. Okay, well, why not? Here it goes. All patches. I'll push the whole thing across. Let's see if it does it. Slower armour. And that's part of the story of it. It's just a bit slow. You can imagine doing it on your phone and sitting there faffing around. But I use this just so you can see it easier. Think of it like a big phone. But you can see that delay in pushing that across there. It's like a dog. So what I would recommend really is you do it on your PC. Don't waste your time on this stuff. Anyway, I'll be back in a minute when it's finished. It could make you revert to drink, right? It's still going. Oh my God. Completed. I don't know what to say. Let's say okay. That's a good answer. It's a pity you can't turn this sideways, isn't it? You notice that? It's stuck where it's stuck. It's a bit of a shortcoming, isn't it? Yeah. Would have been nice being able to flip it round. In any case, enough of that. I've got rid of it. It's too little, it's too awkward, it doesn't turn, it doesn't... You get the idea. It might be different on a Mac. There you go. Anyway, I'm going to use this. I'm going to zoom in and we're going to have a quick look at that editor and the rest of it from a PC. Because, well, to be honest, it's easier. Sounds like a plan. I could run through all the buttons as I did indeed on the Helix, but I don't think there's any real point in any of that because you can get it all from here and it's all selectable and interchangeable and good. Well, okay, well, this is inside the Boss Tone Studio and yeah, it's a bit easier than sitting there on the actual unit faffing around, and it's definitely easier than sitting there, I think, on a tablet as well or a phone, although you can use that as I showed. I uploaded, yeah, you can see them. These here are all settings that were uploaded from Tone Central. Okay, well, let's cover a little area of the screen to get going. If you look at section 1 here, that's really the patch select area. As you can see, you've got presets or user. Function 2, up here, this area up here, that looks after like all the different functions you can have. You've got librarian, tone central, tuner, and a little menu with other things on it, but I won't get into that right now. So that's section 2. Section 3 is really the sort of area where you'd look at the control and expansion. Again, I'll come back to that later. Number 4 is the right button up here. Number 5 area, which is really this area here, all this area. Let's quickly have another look at how we edit it. Obviously you choose the preset here under the user section. We're on editor. It's Joe's Boogie, so if we want to have a look at amp 1, we can click amp 1, and under the AD section, that's what this is, we can choose whichever amp we want. It's really pretty very simple. You can change the parameters here as I showed you. Really basic, I mean hard to get wrong really. Now if we wanted to move it around, we can move the amp around as well. We could sort of grab it and move it forward, for example. Now we have a reverse order of the path, the signal path. So when you do that, of course, that'll change the tone. Always remember that. So again, if I wanted to grab this one, I can grab delay 3 and do things with it. Click it once, it'll come on. Click it again once, it'll go off. But you can still edit it down here, just the same. Now when I've finished editing, I can just whip up here and write it out. I can write it or clear it. I'm going to say write. User 1, I can move it somewhere else if I want, but I'm just going to say write on this occasion. You can see how long it's taking to write. It's not that bad, but it's not that good either, is it? Bit steady. There you go. Now if I wanted to edit the sort of controller or expression, I can just click on this one here and it will bring up the various settings that are already there. Control functions, assignments, patch MIDI, control LED color, all sorts of things. I'm not going through them, but you get the idea. There's little that you can't actually edit. It's just quite good really. So let's take a look at the librarian. Just click it like that. We've got live set 1 there. Nothing in it. I could take that and just push it there and it'll pull it into the live set. Okay, there it is. So if I wanted to choose a few, I wanted to change the orders of this stuff. It's very easy to make a live set. I've got just 2 there. And I could bung this live set back that way into there. So imagine having a number of live sets and you want to push them back into the unit. Well, you can just grab the live set and push it back over here and that's what will happen. It's all pretty basic really. And one of the things you can do is save all the live sets as well, which is quite nice. You can write it out or you can save it or you can import it, which is pretty good really. It's a good way of backing up anything that you might have set up. Imagine I wanted to pull in all of the live sets from the GT-1000. And we can say do that. We can say GT-1000. We'll call it full list. Oh, missed the S. That'll do. And we say OK. And away it will go. Now it's going to take a while, so I might just hop forward a little bit. Well, there you go. It's been a good 15 minutes or so to get that copied across. So if you're in a hurry, don't try and copy everything. Just copy a few bits and pieces. And that's my advice with it. You know, don't go berserk. Okay, completed. Now if I come back in here, you can see that this one I called full list is there with 250 presets. Some of them will be copies, of course. But there they are. And this was live set 1 that I originally set up copied those patches this way. If you grab the watchtower there, we could put that in there as well. You can see it imports pretty quick, providing it's just one copy, and yeah, all quite reasonable. Now I could take this one here and export it to the PC, or I could copy or export it to the PC and then email it to somebody else who can then upload it to their GT-1000, which is quite nice. Now I did quickly go into the Boss Tone Central. We just click that again. It's all quite good. Don't forget you've got to have an internet connection now, else it won't get there, will it? So I have all these different ones, and really you're interested in the GT-1000 ones. I'm not so sure whether them others would actually be much use, but what I like about it is you can listen to it. Yeah. Okay, well maybe not on this one. Is it turned off? No, it should work. It doesn't. Can't show you on here. Oh, what a pity. But don't worry about that. Let's carry on down and we can look at all these different collections. And you can listen to them, as I said. I can't, you can. So like I said, there's quite a lot of different patches that you can just download. Quite nice, really. Bearing in mind you're not paying anything for it. Moving along a bit more, well, you can sort of add it if you want and things like that. I'm not going to do any of that because it's all pretty obvious. Got a tuner if you're plugged in, and we can do a number of other things as well. These are more the controls. Knob settings, input setting, 0 dB on this one. Output, well, this one's set up for line or phones at the moment, but we could choose any of these things down here. Notice they're all Wazza and Katana and this and that and the other. And well, we've got a few tube bits and pieces down here, but then you've got some user ones, so you could sort of set the thing to whatever you want. Yeah, stereo link on or off, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, +4 or -10. Sub outs, don't use it myself, or you can set it for the phones to be what you want to hear, so to speak. You can whiz all your way through this, and there's some real weird stuff on this, because this says total settings, that one says device settings, this one it gets a bit nonsensical if you're not careful. I won't run you through all of it because there is a lot of it to go through. Well, there are some of the features of the GT-1000. Of course, there's hundreds more, if not thousands more, I could say. And you've got a sort of big, thick manual. By the way, it's got one addendum in it for the looper and how you use that thing, because there is a looper in there. I'm not going to bother showing you that. I mean, it's a looper. It's 38 seconds, I believe, in mono, something like that. It ain't very long. Yeah, one of the main things I liked was showing you all your connections and things like that, because you can connect it up in lots of different ways. We've got all the usual stuff, but then it talks about, you know, recording desks and extra pedals and which amps or headphones or this or that or the other. It's all very nice and easy. Yeah. I could have sworn there was another section where they showed you the regular connection, the 4-cable method, and there was even a 7-cable method. I think it's actually on their website. On the, you know, you can have a look at the pages, and it lists out exactly how you wire it into what you're trying to do. So if you want to hop for 7 cables, well, all fun to you. 4 at best, I guess, for me, but I keep it simple. Yeah, more can I say? There are so many more things you can do with this. I think we might just have a quick look around the back of the unit now. Yeah, so you've got a bit more of an idea of the I/O and the things you can do with it. Hold on a minute. Okay, this little bit's pretty easy enough. We've seen most of this sort of stuff. You've got an input for your guitar. You've got a main out, which is a left mono and a right. You've got one for the phones, pretty obvious. And we've got 2 loops, So we got send 1, return 1, send 2 and return 2. Pretty all simple really, if you get an idea what that's about. All these loops are programmable and controllable from within the unit, of course. Now we've got, as well as the main out, we've got the sub output that we can use for other sort of things, such as going, there are XLR outs that you can put into your PA system, or you could put them into a desk, you know, whatever you want to do with them really. Yeah, a sub, and the sub can be controlled as well, what you hear and what you don't hear type of thing, you know. Now moving a bit further, this control, you've got control 4, 5 or expression 2, and we've got control 6 and 7 or expression 3, and then we've got amp control 1 and 2. So you can connect various pedals to these. They always tell you to use the Roland ones, of course, but well, you don't have to. There are others kicking around, but you can control all the various parameters connecting an expression pedal, for example Roland EV5, or a foot switch, and the ones that they say are compatible is FS5U, FS6, FS7. They're all sold separately, and thanks very much. So that's what they're looking for. On this amp control, the 1 and 2, if you connect this to the channel switching jack of your guitar amp, you can switch channels from the GT-1000. Again, it's programmable, so it's all nice and easy. The only thing is, you've only got 2 controls, and I know on my Road King 2 out there, there's at least 4. So, oh, can't use that. Oh, never mind. So, well, it's useful for a lot of amps. It's not useful for all of them by any means. Okay, moving on a bit further, we've got the USB to computer connector. Now, you saw me use that a little bit earlier when we upgraded the firmware and we did all that editing and all the rest of that stuff. But the fact is, you can also use this as a recording interface to push it off to your software on your PC and then record direct from this unit into the PC. And yeah, you can make the PC send audio this way as well. I believe. I've not tried that, probably never will myself, but it's a feature. Next thing up, pretty obvious really, we've got a MIDI in and out. Now we can use that to control a multitude of things, and we can program a lot of the stuff within the unit here to control other devices. But of course we can have other devices control this one as well. So it depends whether you've got a separate master MIDI, you know, product, a unit that controls everything else, if you will, for a unit. And I can control this unit by using the one that's on the floor at the front with a nice smaller platform than this unit is. Next one's pretty obvious. Power. We've got no internal power supply, so you've got a DC in here. It says here used Roland adapter only. Well, if I remember right, it's 9 volts, 4 amps, and it's standard, or maybe 3 amps, standard Roland thing. We've got that thing you can tie this down with, and this holds your cable off the power supply. And that's about it for the back. And as I said before in this video, interesting to note that this one is actually made in China. They've always been made in Taiwan for the most part, but this one's made in China and it still works out at 800 or 900 quid, depending on where you buy from. FCC, CE, ROSH compliance, and I forget what the other one is, but they're all there. They've got the name on, where it's made, all the compliances. You never get any problems with this unit regarding any of that. Now don't forget you've got that other software for controlling the speaker simulations, you know, for uploading and editing, or no, I think it's just uploading the IRs for the speaker cabs and things like that. It can have a tremendous effect on the overall sound of this unit. So maybe that's where I went wrong before. Who knows? But I've uploaded some sounds on there now from those, you know, famous sounds, and we'll see how famous they are. They really sound, should I say. It should all be very interesting in that, bearing in mind you can download them for free. I like things for free. Unfortunately, this is £800 at its cheapest, which is a bit sad. But it's got wah-wah pedals on it and all sorts of other things. I could go on forever more talking about it. I'm not going to, because I was put off a little bit by how it sounds initially, and if it doesn't improve, well, Score's not going to be very good. I'm going to try hard to improve the sound, I guess. Some of this stuff can sound complex, when in reality this unit isn't that complex. It can be a bit awkward to get the tones you want, and make no mistake of that. When me and my friend decided to have a listen at this the other night, we were all, oh my God, what have they done? What have they done? The Air D isn't, it's, you know, well, that might have been at the time. It's been updated since, and I've played around a lot with it since, so things change. We shall see how good it is when we get to the audio just down there, you know, the playing. Yeah, what more can I say about it? It's extremely well made, I can tell you that much. Now that very same friend the other night that wanted to see this, oh Tony, we've got to plug it in and see what it sounds like. He'd had a Helix, a Line 6 Helix, you know, it's bigger, it's about this size. So this has a bit of an advantage in, you know, real estate area or floor space on the stage, for example. And he was telling me, oh, it's too big and it was this. And I sent it back, he said. I thought, oh, why'd you send it back? He said, well, it sounded rubbish. He could never get a good sound out of it. I know where he's at with that, because I did spend some time with the Helix trying to get good tones. And I did get pretty good tones in the end. It was all a question of time. And I reviewed the Helix in its early days where there wasn't really anything online to pull down and all that sort of stuff. This one's got at least 4 or 5 packs that you can pull down, at least. So you've got something to work from the get-go, whereas the Helix didn't. But he surprised me in so much as I sent it back and it was terrible. And then we plugged this one in, we spent about 3 hours on it. Believe it, 3 hours. And his comments were, do you know, my GT-1000 sounds better than that. I said, how'd you do that then? He says, well, I started off faffing around for hours on end, but there's a guy on YouTube. I bought a pack off him and just uploaded them and it sounded great. Well, that's the easy way out, and Mr. DeLune, if that's his proper name, I think it is. I'm bad at coming up with saying things the right way. But he's got some good presets. Now, he hasn't got any for this quite yet, as I do this in sort of early 3rd of June 2018. But he will have, and maybe that's a route to go down if you can't get any decent sounds, because he knows where he's at. You can faff around for hours and hours on end. I don't really want to do that, because it's just, it's endless. It just goes on and on and on and on. You don't really want to be doing it, right? Too much like work, yeah? Now actually, I have been back outside. Contrary to what the video might tell you or might suggest. And the fact is that they're not bad sounds. But what I find with it, it's pretty much like what I said earlier on, or similar to what I said. The clean tones, exceptional. There's some acoustics in there, also exceptional. But I expected that, even on the likes of the VG99, which is some years old now. Those sounds were better than these, or at least the same. I'll put it that way, at least the same. So what's changed there? Nothing. Yeah. It's these distortion sounds that we always have trouble with on these type of units, and I think that this one isn't that much of an exception. How I'd relate to this unit is that it's almost like a wannabe Helix. And I think this product would not have existed in the way that it does if the Helix hadn't come along. I think they all want to be part of the Helix, the mob. Now the Helix and its genre, you know, these simulated sounds are not always what people make out they are. Best one I've heard remains the Kemper. But the Kemper's in a different league than this sort of stuff. And even that I tend not to really want to play it too much, because it's a computer and it can crash no matter what they say. So this unit, I decided in the end to give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah, and that's about the best I can give it, because most of these are pretty similar. It's still an £800, or I think it was $1,000 in America, plus tax. This is £800 with tax. So, I don't know, go figure. This is probably cheaper if I was to take the tax off, because there's 20% tax. So, 7 out of 10. Its build quality is excellent. All that sort of stuff's great. So, the music's going to come up. I've tried to cover as many things as I can and be as excited as I can about this pedal, but ultimately for me, it's probably not the best pedal for me. You might like it. Me, I'll stick to the real deal amps, because I think that they offer more. And in some cases they offer more for less. I mean, it's £800. You could buy one of those Hughes and Kettner Grandmeisters for less than this, especially second hand. And I tell you now, that sounds great, because the tubes are there. It hasn't got this, oh well, maybe I can get the tones. You plug it in, it sounds great. And it's got the effects. Yeah, should I say that? Yeah, I should. Anyway, that's the GT-1000, and that's what I'm going to say about it. 7 out of 10. Thanks very much. Don't forget to visit https://TonyMckenzie.com, which is now a secure connection, because Google forced me to. They want shooting, not literally, of course. Okay, and you know where Boss is. You know where peachguitarsis.com. He might send you to. He probably won't. And not much else to say, except if you're over 39, get yourself checked out for prostate cancer, because it can kill you so easily, and it can do it through the back door, so to speak. I think I can say that. And yeah, you won't even know you got it. And when you do know you've got it, it's too late. So the moral is, get checked, dudes. What's a finger between friends? After all, I'm still here. Just. So, that's about it for now. And I've got a lot of these reviews coming online. If they haven't already got online, I don't know which order they'll end up. There's about 6 or 7 reviews, long ones. Best of luck with all that. And when I get to 250 videos, I'm going to be looking at 1 or 2 things. So, let's wait until we get to 250 and then have a sharp and take a breath. Yeah. See you next time. Here's the music. Now get out of here. Okay, well here I am in the studio with the Boss GT-1000 on the floor. You can't see much of it. I'm not going to go running around with cameras here and cameras there. Not worth the effort. Now let me explain the way that this is set up. I mean, I've tried it through the PA, I've tried it through different amps, I've tried it through 4 cable methods, returns, you name it, I've been there. And one of the key things with this unit is that you need to have a look under settings under main out and global EQ, and spend a bit of time on that, on whatever you're connected to, and just make sure that you are cutting the treble back as necessary depending on your system. Some systems require a lot of treble cutting off, some don't. This one I'm on here requires a fair amount of cutting back on the treble, and yeah, a little bit of focus. But I've tried loads of different other tube amps in here, and you know, we've got it set up as near as we physically can to get reasonable sounds in a real environment. Strangely, through the PA, it didn't sound very good at all. Don't ask me why. Colleague of mine, Pete, came along, friend, and he said that his GT-100 sounded better. Well, when we actually compared it, I don't think it did, but it would do on his equipment, so it was tuned up for his equipment. And that's the important thing before we get down to sounds. You need to tune this GT-1000 up to whatever it is you're going to be playing through. For me, I'm just using it through a clean channel on it is a tube amp, and of course there are speakers, so the speaker's disabled and things like that. You know, the speaker simulation's disabled, so bear that in mind when you're listening to the sounds. You're not getting any distortion from this amp, you're getting just pure clean through the return, so whatever's coming in is going through the amp and out. It's not too loud either, so well, at the minute it isn't. One more thing I do want to mention is there's a massive disparity between the presets that are in the unit. So if you're on an acoustic, for example, it might be set low, probably low. But if you come on some of the distortions, they're way too loud, and you've got to go through and set up and faff around with these, balancing these settings if you're going to do anything with it live, for example. Fine for me in the studio, but for you live is another story. I would hate to sit there doing that. Just a few, bear it in mind. Okay, let's get down to this 11-5 Brit Stack 57 sound. It doesn't sound quite stack to me, but it might do to you. So I'm just going to run through a few. I'll put a picture of the unit as it was there, up there, and you can see which ones they were. The only other thing that's been changed is the first 10 presets came down from Boss Tone Central. The Satriani ones and the rest. The Satriani one sounds so trebly, it's unbelievable that he could even use it. 11-5. One vintage Floyd. I can't play this style, but you'll get the idea. For Springy Blues. This is 13.1, this is called Gig Ready, and it doesn't sound bad in here, but who knows what it'll be like when he gets to there. Distortion, fair bit of gain, back it on the pedal a bit. Remember, these are plain and simple effects from the presets. I haven't faffed around with these, but there's a few I have, but we'll look at them in a bit. This is Blues Guitar TX, well, whatever it may be. To me, too much reverb. This one's called 16-3 Double X Drive, and it's had a little bit of tweaking, I think. Not much. It doesn't sound that great, but it's okay. so. Well, you make your own mind up. Now I've got a clean one here. It's got a little bit of reverb and delay and things like that on it. But this is 19.2 acoustic guitars. Love it, it says. That's what it is. So it says. So this is what it sounds like. You'll tend to notice that the clean sounds sound better often than the distorted ones. This one's 21-3 and it's called Heavy Parking. Well, it's heavy something. This one's called 21-4 Clean plus Pad. It is what it is. Well, all the clean ones are always seemingly better than the distorted, as I said. This one sort of shapes itself as you run through the controls. It's called 21-5 Extra High Gain Lead. Control 1. And Control 2. Okay, this one's called 23-5 Clean plus Drive, and I've got it on the Clean plus Drive. Crystal Clean, and what I'm going to do with this is just play a little bit, then we'll zoom down to those first 10 that we uploaded from Boss Tone Central. Yeah, Sounds like a plan. I mean, again, we're back on the clean stuff, and the clean stuff always sounds to me really, really nice. But you know what? It's that drive. It's like a lot of these pedals, people will tell you they're brilliant, but if you're surrounded by real tube amps and you play the real tube amps and you play this, I'm telling you now, there isn't much comparison. It feels different as well. But this thing, yeah, crystal clean, it says, 24-4, completely unmuddied, except for the stuff I had to do with the EQs. There's a couple of other things you can turn on. There's the first one. Bit of that. We'll have the second one on as well. Now I've got one here, the first of the 10 we downloaded, and I have to be honest, this Joe's Boogie is so trebly, it's unreal. I haven't changed it purposely because I wanted to show how bad that preset is as it comes, which is a bit weird. Well, I say as it comes, it's been downloaded. Who knows what's gone up there. But you'll hear it, and it's nothing but treble. Now then, this is another untouched one, 2-1, which is a download, as I said. It's Angus's back. Yeah. It's a bit feeble. Let's press a few buttons and see what happens. That were pre-programmed, of course. Don't sound right to me. Turn that one off. Nah. Now then, I'm not going to sit here just doing this all night or going and putting backing tracks on or any of that. This particular product doesn't inspire me to do much of anything. Maybe it's me. Maybe you think the sounds are all fabulous. They might be when they get to the camera, but I don't know. In here, they don't sound that great, especially once you start getting the distorted stuff. The clean stuff, I have to say, it's pretty good. It always has been. And I've got a VG99 in there that has absolutely stunning acoustic tones. They are in this, and certainly you can get them, but I think you'll need to spend a fair amount of time with this pedal to get it where you want it to be. And you know, to be honest, it's £800 or $1,000 plus VAT, plus tax, should I say, in the USA, and £800 including tax in England. It's a lot of money to lash out for tones that aren't as good, and I think I've said it before in this video, that are not as good as a Hughes and Kettner that sits over there. That's probably about, you could buy one of those for probably 600 or less, well, not brand new, but not that very old, and they have far better sounds in that amp over there than this is doing here, no matter what I do. Now, it could be me, but I've been through a lot of various bits of gear, and yeah, I'm not that impressed with this one. On the other hand, that one down there can eat this one here for breakfast, and if you can get hold of a Kemper for the likes of a couple £100 difference, you know, second user, I'd buy the Kemper every time. That's my advice anyway, and hope you like the review. I tried to be fair to the product. In fact, I've been very fair to the product. It's extremely well made. I don't like the sound so much, but that's a personal preference, and you know, you need to plug one in and try it somewhere, but I think you'll find when you plug it in, you'll have a sort of similar sort of tones that I'm getting. Unless you go straight to the headphones and you just keep it on headphones and just twiddle around the tone. You can do that. Anyway, there you go. Until next time, I've already given it a score, I think. Yeah, I think I did. Maybe you want one of them, maybe you like the size, maybe, oh, I'll push it straight to the PA. Like my mate Paul said, you know, oh yeah, well, my GT-1000 goes straight into the PA and all that stuff. And that's all good if you can get the sound, and he says he can. I dare say you could probably get him with this. You know, there's some guys out there that make patches. I think his name's Daloon, one of the guys. And he'll come up with patches that you can buy, and they'll only sound good if you match the unit up to what you're trying to play through. I have a pretty reasonable match here. In fact, through this is the best I've achieved to date. And I tried it through a JTM over there, a real one. No, I don't want to do that. That's already too toppy to start off with. Overall, the product's very toppy. I found that and I've had to shut it back and shut it back. So anyway, there's my opinion, and you might love the sales demos that you get on the internet, where they always make it sound great, don't they? Well, they would. If I go and put it through the studio and I want to do all the things where I can make it sound really good, and I can do that, sure, it'll sound just as good as those sales videos, but can you do that? That's the real question. For me, that's where it stops. I'm probably going to sell it. Case closed for me. But if you love the product, say so down there. So that's what matters. Users that have got them, not just people that I think it's great. That doesn't work. You've got to use one. And you know, put your tips down below. If you've got some tips on how you make this product better for you, that worked for you, they might help other guys. So until next time, thanks for watching. Been a pretty long review. I'm not going to come back to this one again. And thanks. Now get out of here.